Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of 10 Minute Marvel. Today there's going to be a lot to talk about because we have seen Captain America Brave New World, plus Marvel didn't skip a week and just gave us 3 more episodes of your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man to talk about, plus news and rumors.
I'm
So,
exhausted already.
yeah. So, the Red Hulk to my co-host, well, he can figure out who he is. I'm Petter, and co-hosting as always.
I'm feeling kind of Ruth-like today. I feel a
Ruth
little bit
like
of Ruth. Yeah, I'm the Ruth to this crazy Red Hulk slash president. I don't know. That's
Yeah,
all I got.
clear
I
and
gotta. I don't
President
know.
Danger.
Yeah. I don't know if I am able to keep up with your surprise intros like this. I am just not that quick-witted, so I may have to just veer off and do my own thing. But
Yeah.
hi,
Well,
everybody.
I'll keep on throwing him to you so that you're somehow involved in my intro.
Yeah, and I
That way
will.
you're stuck.
All right. Well, just watch me as I flail, okay? Or listen to
But
me as I flail.
yeah, by episode 500, Greg is going to be great at these.
I'm gonna be really good. Like I should be one of those people in like those they do all the comedy routines
Improv.
yeah, there we go.
Yep, yep.
And then I'll know how to say improv too at that time.
Yes.
Uh, okay, let's get on with this. Thanks for coming back, everybody. It's Greg, back as always with Petter, and we're going to, I don't know, just unleash our thoughts and feelings on a lot of stuff tonight. So hang on tight. But first, if you're looking for ways to support us, you can find us on your YouTube channel. Search 10 Minute Marvel. Give us a like and thumb smash that subscribe button. Find and follow us on Facebook and Twix. Hashtag 10 Minute Marvel there. And of course, you can leave a rating and review wherever you get your friendly neighborhood podcast from. All right,
Yes.
let the chaos begin.
Yeah, well, chaos on the news and rumor side is lighter. We'll start with the news. Daredevil Born Again Season 2 has reportedly started filming. Uh,
Oh,
no real surprise there.
nope. Great.
And Captain America Brave New World made $194 million opening weekend. Obviously, that's estimated. We don't know the precise numbers for Sunday. And it is a holiday weekend, so that number may get revised by US Monday totals since
Mm.
schools are closed.
Yeah. I honestly just now put together that it's President's Day tomorrow in the
Yes.
US, right? And this movie, Captain America, Brave New World, is very,
Yeah.
very much the one to come out on President's Day
Yes.
weekend. How did I just notice that? Because I'm me. That's why.
Yes. Yep. Also through Saturday, I believe it was, it had made 40 million in the US, which was higher than two of the other Captain America films for opening weekends. And yeah, it has made back its budget, obviously not advertising budget already at this point.
Oh, well, that kind of warms my heart a little bit.
Hmm.
It's not a total loss, and then they
Yeah.
got that as ammo, right? So,
Yeah. 180 million to make the film. So 18 million over. Granted, you're probably looking to double that, but I'm not sure where worldwide it's opened for sure. Like, I'm not sure if it's opened in China yet this weekend
hmm,
or if that's still coming. Because that's another big number when that does happen.
yeah. Yeah, and they can't air it over there without having any sort of, things edited out,
Hmm.
or anything like that. So, way to go.
Yep.
Way to play by the world's rules, Marvel.
Yes. Yep. So, yeah, it looks like for the US numbers, it's looking like it's opening up at 100 million. And since I'm seeing international lower than that, my guess is it is not open in China yet.
Hmm.
Um,
How much lag is it?
it varies.
I
I
haven't
mean,
really
even
taken note of that.
worldwide, yeah, it varies.
I mean, what is it going to be like a week?
Probably, maybe two, because uh, I think China generally lags a little bit because of pirating, and so they don't want it to release in China the same weekend,
Uh,
since that is where most of like they're more lax on
yeah,
people pirating it, which means that they want to keep versions from hitting torrent or whatever sharing sites are now.
sure. Like you don't
Rumors.
know.
Yeah, I really don't.
Me either.
Lying. No.
No, I, hmm. Anyways, back to the news or
Yes,
rumors.
rumors now. Basically, all the rumors are potential castings minus one, which is only kind of a casting because they're already cast. But Harrison Ford is rumored to have signed on to return as Thaddeus Ross slash Red Hulk in a future project. I'm
Hmm.
trying to think where, like, what would make sense without just saying Secret Wars. If they do a World War Hulk or something like that.
Yeah. I mean, like, do they recruit? They wouldn't recruit him, right? Unless, like, for Secret Wars, would they recruit to try and for battle purposes? Like, I don't know. Like, there's a
Yeah,
ton of people on the raft, right, that they could use, but it just
yes.
doesn't feel like it's a Secret Wars thing. It feels like they're
hmm
gonna just hang
Minor
on to it.
spoilers from Greg
Yeah,
there, by the way.
minor,
Very minor. But
very minor.
we'll try and keep those out
I,
until the spoiler
I
section.
didn't even realize that I had maybe said something
Yep.
that we maybe should have held on to.
Yes.
But too bad. It's already done. So I
Mhm.
was just gonna say that I think it's probably gonna be more we see him later on. So
Yeah.
um,
Yeah.
yep.
World War Hulk makes a lot of sense to me.
Yeah, if that's really gonna go down, right?
Yeah. If they do something, yeah. Um,
He's
Margaret
but he's
Qualley,
also what I mean, Harrison Ford, he
84, 85. I don't know.
right. I mean, I think he's more in his 70s. I don't think he's in his 80s, is he?
He's 82.
Dang, he looks good for you too.
Yep.
Um, Must be all the weed he smokes. Probably not. That'd probably actually do the opposite effect. But um the I I don't think you want to wait too long
Yeah.
necessarily for him.
Though if you're
So
primarily doing Red Hulk versus Thunderbolt Ross, then so much of that is CGI at that point.
true. That's true. But I mean like how much control is he gonna have,
hmm
right? So they have to set that up. I don't know. I just if he's gonna do something, I can't
Yeah,
imagine it's gonna be
sooner rather than
much.
later.
Yep,
Yep.
yep.
Then, like I said, the other four are potential casting ones. These come from combination of Unknown, My Time to Shine Hello, and Daniel RPK. Unknown is just I don't know who it was originally. Um,
Not okay.
Margaret Qualley eyed for the role of Rogue.
How you feeling about that?
I would be fine with that.
I didn't check into her. I saw the picture of her.
hmm
Based
She
on
was
looks,
in,
cool. All right.
yeah, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. She's 30. I'm like, you look
Really?
younger than 30. Yes.
She is not. She fake. She put the wrong year on her application, I think.
Yeah.
What's her name again?
Margaret Qualley.
Margaret Qualley. Wow, my phone's listening to me because it just like top of the search. Okay.
Yep. And she's been
No
in
way.
stuff like Substance.
Oh,
Going to go back through here, see if I recognize anything else. She was in the really bad live action adaptation of the anime Death Note, and
she
she
was in.
was
Oh, go ahead.
the Leftovers.
Yep, and Poor Things, which did really well.
Okay.
She's gonna be in Happy Gilmore 2.
Happier,
Is that what it is?
happier
Happier
Gilmore.
Gilmore?
Yeah.
Is it? Or maybe he's less happy. Unhappy Gilmore.
Well,
Depressed
the
Gilmore.
weird thing is, this is also supposed to, like, Happy Gilmore 2 is supposed to lead into a spin-off about his daughters.
Oh, that's weird.
Yeah, it's called Gilmore Girls.
Oh dear God. Were you eating Laffy Taffy? Like where did that come from? Did you just pull
Uh,
that like just
just yeah,
now?
in the in the moment, I was like, "This is a stupid joke. I'm running with it."
Oh my gosh, that's so terrible. But kudos, I mean, good for you. Way to be brave, right? Way to be brave, Petter, and
Yeah.
let that one go. All right. Well, I'm a little shocked that she's that old.
Mhm.
She was in Spy Games with Brad Pitt and what's his nuts?
John Malkovich.
Yeah, nope, not John Malkovich. Also was in a Robert Redford. There we go. Wow. Okay. Well, either way, so we're thinking if she's 30,
But again, she plays
right? She
she
plays. I know, but like
yes.
we're still thinking she does look very young, so that works for her.
hmm
And I'm just trying to keep track of ages here and see what they're trying
Yes. Yep.
to do. So,
Well, we'll go to another young person, or young, not at all young person, Jared Leto in talks
oh
potentially to
God,
join the MCU, not as Morbius. and not as a Ghost Rider. I don't know why Ghost Rider was tossed in there, but
Yeah.
I'm a little bit no thanks.
Yeah.
He can be good, but for me, he's just
I,
inconsistent.
I feel like I'm a little behind, like about a year or two behind on this one, but I'm just gonna say he's a little extra. Like
Yes.
to use some of the slang that's been tossed out there in the last few years, and my sons have picked up on. But yeah, it
He,
doesn't fit for me. Like
yeah.
I don't know, something he's just kind of you know what, honestly, he was on Smartless podcast,
Hmm.
with Jason Bateman and Will Arnett and the other guy. I'll skip his name because I can't think of it right now, but
John Malkovich.
John Malkovich. God, there it is. Thank you. And he wasn't that awkward. Like he was actually kind of genuine and
Hmm.
interesting, but also a little bit like I feel like he's a little bit full of himself. But all that aside, I've not really seen something from him that makes me excited for him to be in the MCU.
Yes.
However, who knows? I mean, maybe there is the right role out there. Could you just even like imagine one? Like what?
Ah, I'm trying to think what it would be for him.
If they make a morph, I'm gonna probably get very upset.
Yeah, no, not Morph.
You're gonna say
So
Sinister, aren't you?
no, it had crossed my mind. I won't lie, but no, no to Sinister. He's not imposing enough for Sinister. Yeah, like I'm
I,
struggling
yeah.
with who would make sense. Multiple Man?
Oh, that's even worse. Like we have more than one Jared
Hmm.
Leto. Like, maybe his band will just be in one of the movies. I don't
Yeah, I'm not sure which I like more, him or his band. I'm
know.
not a fan of either, in case you can't tell. Um,
Yeah, I haven't
so
really
on to
listened
the
to
next.
that one. Yeah, so let's keep going.
Yeah, Marvel considering Jenna Ortega for a big role in the MCU.
All right.
Yeah, uh, obviously another fairly hot. Well,
Yeah.
I'm not going to say another fairly hot name, a fairly hot name because I don't think Jared Leto is a fairly hot name anymore for movies. So I'm trying to think who she could play. Could she be a Kitty Pryde? Trying to
Yeah.
think.
They play, I don't know, being that we have Spider-Man on the brain, at least I do. Yeah, Nika Minoru. She
Hmm.
she's dark. I mean,
Yeah,
although I don't want to kind of like typecast her as a dark character like that. And not that it's dark to play Nico Minoru, but I guess it kind of is that witchcraft, that mysticism kind of
yeah.
stuff.
I don't
So
love Nico there. I think there would be better options.
I haven't really
Scrolling.
seen her stuff. Like
Yeah.
I know she's Wednesday. I know
Hmm.
that she's been in another movie recently or show. Uh, so I don't really like I haven't really seen
Yeah.
her do her thing, right? And so I can't like pick that up and plop it down in the MCU somewhere.
Yeah,
So
like I'm scrolling through a couple lists of who like, oh, who could she play in the MCU and nothing has jumped out at me. I don't love the idea of Nico. Um
it was Beetlejuice. That's the second one. That's
yeah,
what other one I was thinking of. She was
Black
in Iron
Cat.
Man 3.
Yeah. Could she be Black Cat? Not fully buying that. Like I said, Kitty Pryde. Eh.
I'm not even sure like that so much.
Yeah, this whole list, I'm just like, now, Spider-Girl or Spider-Woman, I could see,
Yeah.
but that's harder to say that that would be a major role in the MCU.
I'm gonna see what our girlfriend AI will come up with here.
Hmm.
White
Alan
Tiger,
Iverson.
Ellen Iverson.
Yep, that's who we contact every time we you contact AI. It's
Oh,
just
is
Alan
that
Iverson sitting at a computer typing in answers.
God? That would be such a great
That would
job.
have been perfect Super Bowl commercial too. For
That
like
would be
Chat
good.
GPT's Super Bowl
Yeah,
commercial, just have it Allen Iverson typing everything in and
yeah,
being like, no, we made an actual AI to answer these
yeah.
questions. You don't have to do it anymore.
Oh,
All right.
that's good stuff.
I got the jokes tonight or something.
You do. I don't know what. Yeah, man, you're feeling it. It didn't really come up with anything for me, anything
Yeah.
great. So
You
let's
probably
move
it
on.
probably pulled from the list that I looked at. Let's be fair.
Young, okay, Iron Man, like the Iron Man's daughter. Does that work?
Morgan Webb or
Morgan.
Morgan Stark.
Yeah.
Uh, I'm not.
Nah. No, no, no. I
Yeah.
don't like it. I don't like it.
I guess maybe if, but I don't know how you would tie that into like Young Avengers or Champions or anything like that. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
Okay.
Marvel, final rumor one is Marvel's interested in Margot Robbie.
Robbie,
Robbie.
Barbie. She was in
Yeah.
that big movie called Barbie and
Yeah.
Suicide Squad.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's the Suicide Squad or if it's Suicide Squad.
She was in both.
Was it both? Oh, you're right. She
Both.
was in both. Never mind. You're right.
Mhm. She was in the huge hit Birds of Prey.
Yes. Which wasn't, I think I
I
started watching that. It was kind of interesting. I like Margot
the
Robbie.
fact you didn't finish it also tells us how interesting
I
it was.
don't
But
remember if I did or not. I feel like I started it. I don't know why I did. I think I was like flying somewhere. Either way.
yeah,
Um, who would she play?
Emma Frost.
That was my probably, yeah. And that's because she's blonde, right?
Mhm. But I think she could also do a good job with that role.
What about
Think,
like, yeah, Mystique?
ooh, Mystique could be fun as well. I'd be down with that.
She's kind of playful and
Hmm.
you know, so but yeah, I think either one of those would be actually pretty good.
Yeah.
Mhm.
All right.
That's an
So,
expensive ticket right there. Man, that's
uh,
Jared Leto, I'm sure is not
yeah,
cheap. Margot
yeah,
Robbie's probably not cheap.
yeah. Jenna Ortega can't be super cheap anymore.
No, probably not.
Sorry, Margaret Qualley. We're not
Margaret,
putting you
yeah.
into that
Just
group.
you'll be there someday.
Yeah. Uh, what do you want to talk about first? Your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man?
Oh, we're
Or
there.
yeah.
Yeah, let's I think I have less to say about your friendly
Well,
neighborhood Spider-Man.
and in all fairness, we're gonna do your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man first so that you feel like you should stick around and continue
Oh,
to listen to the bigger topic at the end
yeah. Good
because we're
marketing.
smart. Yeah.
And I'll probably accidentally give away things somewhere,
That's
somehow.
true.
So, uh,
Yeah.
it would make sense to
S-
probably do it first in that sense,
Yeah.
but I'll try my best. So, no
So,
spoilers here yet.
yeah, we're going to start with a no spoiler talk on your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. Three more episodes, only two left to go. Thoughts on the Duel with the Devil, Scorpion Rising, and Tangled Web.
Mm. Um,
Do you want me to kick it off first,
yeah,
or
go
do you
ahead,
want to
kick it
go?
off.
I had fun with these episodes. I don't know that I like them quite as much as the previous three, but I think that it did a really good job progressing that main story and creating some interesting moments and interesting character interactions that are going to set up some big things for the final two episodes slash future seasons even. And I did really enjoy these episodes of the show.
I think I like these episodes better. There's just a little bit more of the substance I was looking for and less of the introduction fluff and
Hmm.
setup. So it was kind of getting into the, as we say here in the Midwest, the meat and potatoes. Do they, maybe that's not a saying in the Midwest particularly, but I'm going to make it that way. So I think fun characters showed up. Um,
Hmm.
Plot thickens
Yes.
and I just the stakes are starting to get
Oh yeah.
more, increased, which is great. I'm
Yes.
not like I'm not like at the edge of my seat necessarily.
Hmm.
This is more just like kind of a fun ride for me. It's
Hmm.
not like I felt like with Agatha All Along or
Yeah.
even any of the other similar shows like that.
Mhm. I
So,
will.
but overall,
Yeah.
thumbs up.
Yeah. I was gonna say. I will say these three episodes do have me at the point where I'm like, yeah, let's get to Wednesday. I want to know how they wrap up season one. I want to know what happens to these characters as compared to like the first five episodes. It was like, yeah, this is fun. This is fun. I'm excited to see where it's going. But when it gets here, it gets here. This one is that, like I was saying, more like that. Yeah, give me those last two episodes. I want to see how this all plays out because they're I care about the stakes for, in particular, one character who we'll talk about in spoilers.
Mhm.
So now it's time for spoilers. Spoilers
Oh,
talk.
all right.
Spoilers, spoilers, spoilers. You have been warned.
Spoiler.
Spoilers.
Oh, we said it. I want to do it at the same time. It sounded cooler that way. Um, okay.
Where do you want to
We got
start?
let's kind of maybe start at the top a little bit.
Yeah.
Daredevil.
Yeah.
Daredevil was in it. Charlie
Hmm.
Cox. Fight was great.
Yeah. Also,
Um,
no Fisk yet.
yeah, good point. I forgot about him. So I'm guessing we will see him this
Well,
week.
we have to if he's in there, we have to see him this
If he's
week.
in there. Which we're
Yeah.
pretty guaranteed he is. Like,
I mean, it was confirmed that he was.
yeah.
I suspect that he may be a villain who is set up more for season 2/3 at this point.
Yeah. Because where does he fit in here? Like, is
Hmm.
he working with Osborn somehow?
So working
Um,
with Doc Ock
right? Like, is it,
or the Scorpions gang.
I
He's
mean,
they're working for him, but it doesn't like Gargan doesn't seem like he's working for anybody but himself.
right. Yeah, who else? We have any other villains that are, I don't think so. Like, is he going to be more the political side? Will he have that mayor role here? Or, I don't know. Or is he just going to be the thug, you know, leading
Yeah,
his own gang kind of thing? Um,
but let's go. Let's get back to the character who was there, Daredevil.
Yes. Okay. Fight was great.
Hmm.
The back and forth banter was great. So Daredevil seemed to be there for a reason.
Yes.
He feels that Osborn's got something to hide, and he's up to something pretty shady. And so I'm assuming, going to see more of him
Yeah.
again, which also would make sense with maybe Kingpin obviously coming in next too. Um, so
Yep.
cool cameo,
Hmm.
cool fight. About all I gotta
Yes.
say about that.
Yeah. Do you have any ideas of what you think Osborn is hiding?
I I think that Osborn's goal is to weaponize like a team of I guess
Pick.
what heroes or
Yeah.
like just superpowered individuals of some
Yep.
nature, right? I think that's what he's doing with the student or the people that he's brought in, not just Peter.
Hmm.
So I think he's maybe doing other things with that, and
Yep.
he's gonna sell it to the military, is
Hmm.
basically right. It's kind of a combo package with his tech and his crew, and
Yep.
then that helps carry out the Sokovia Accords to keep things in line,
Right.
along with what Iron Man, since Iron Man showed up.
Hmm.
So,
Create the Dark Avengers, basically,
oh yeah, there you
because
go.
that, I mean, that's what he does in the comics.
Yeah, yep. Um,
Yep. And I think he knows that he can't control Peter at this point fully, slash, Peter's a kid. And so he's looking to, yeah, create something more.
yeah. And we do get to see the glider,
Yes.
which is in the
Yep.
next episode. So I should maybe let me jump back before we get to the glider part. I was kind of wondering about I don't remember what her Jean, I think her name is, snooping around
Yep.
in Osborn's business there a little bit.
Hmm.
Peter kind of catches her. What do you think she is ultimately up to?
Um, that is a good question.
I'm also trying to remember. Was Jean the
Gene Falco, um,
Falco? Like as in Falco or no, Fuku? Fuko.
Foucault. She suspects that her real life father might be the Taskmaster, apparently. Um,
Hmm.
but yeah, she becomes like a young Avenger. She's in Avengers Arena. Um, her hero name is Finesse. So I'm not sure what she'd be looking for or who's put her up to looking for something is probably the better question.
Right. Maybe is she working for Kingpin, maybe on the side?
Kingpin, or is she working for Ross?
Or
Like
yeah,
if Ross
maybe.
doesn't fully trust.
Yeah. Or is she
Yeah.
good? And
Hmm.
well, Daredevil
Well,
would, I don't know. Probably
yeah.
doesn't.
But if she's working for Ross, she might think that she is on the good side.
Right.
Im-
Working for the US government in some way,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
So
I think
I just thought
she's.
it was, is it going to come to fruition now? Like in the next couple episodes, come circle back around? Probably. I'm assuming they'll kind
Mhm.
of explain what's going on with that. But
Yeah. Apparently she joins AIM at one point in the comics. So that could be bringing in somebody else too.
I was
But
going to look up Marvel Finesse.
Finesse. Yep.
Adaptive muscle memory. Oh, huh. So is it polymath? Polymath with photographic reflexes. Okay, so she's much like her father.
Who she suspects is her father,
Right,
Taskmaster.
sure.
Yep.
So absurd advanced scientific knowledge and retains everything she learned. Okay,
Yep.
interesting. So I makes me think she's very much a spy with
Yes.
those
Yep.
kind of, if she's able to kind of
Hmm.
see things and remember them. So
Yep.
we'll see, I'm sure. Fun
Yep.
little side, side
Hmm.
story going on there. Um, the other
Also
thing,
feels like something that could not, or that could be hinted at again this season and not paid off until a future season.
which is cool. I like kind
Yep.
of those things. Those are fun. I think the other thing about that episode 6, right, is
Yeah.
Lincoln. He's kind of
Hmm.
really now buying into the 110
Yeah.
gang. Like he's pretty safe to say he is moving forward with it, right? And
Yeah.
just he has convinced himself that is what's best for him and his family.
Yeah.
So,
You did well, especially yeah, especially now that he has seen the gang that would take over. Like he's
right,
seen the Scorpions, and it's like, well, even if I understand that 110th Street Gang is not good, they're better than the Scorpions. Like they're going to protect my family better than the Scorpions.
right. And now they're taking a shot at him, right?
Hmm.
So Lincoln's probably Lonnie Lincoln's probably takes that personally.
Yeah.
And now it's yeah, it's just really he's submersed in the gang lifestyle,
Hmm.
I think.
Yeah.
So
You missed one other important part in that episode.
would it be something to do with Harry Osborn?
Yes. And Nico?
Yep. They totally made out. No, they
Yep.
did
That was
not.
a weird part.
That's
No.
so weird. Really graphic.
Yep. 30% of the episode.
Just the longest. Okay, I'm gonna stop that right there. I thought it was kind of cool during their little the time when they had alone,
Yep.
for 10% of the time. They the couple movies that they had thought about watching
Yep.
before Peter took off, and that was Zaniac, which is kind of a fun nod, right? And then along
Yep.
with Tomb Busters, which is referenced in Moon Knight. So cool little Easter eggs that were tossed in there.
Hmm.
And I would not have seen those if it wasn't for Jessica Clemens. So thanks, Jessica at
Yeah.
New Rockstars, for finding those because totally missed them. But I don't have the patience nor the
Yeah.
technology to go through those
I
frame by frame.
should have remembered Zaniac, just because that was in Loki season 2, correct?
Yep, yep.
Yep.
So fun nod
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Probably the bigger part.
the bigger part, not so much the movies and the Easter eggs, but how Harry supposedly, and yeah, because he does, he gives the secret away, Peter's secret away to her,
Yeah.
and now Nico's pissed.
At
Which
Peter.
this is the one thing that I'm just like, she seems like a pretty level-headed person, and they have to do this to make the story move forward, right? I understand,
Hmm.
but I just don't feel like she's in a place to really be like, why didn't you tell me? And I'm mad at you for telling me or for not telling me, and I can't trust you and all that. I know she's got her own trust issues, but
Yeah. It's her trust issues. It's the fact that Harry knew, like the new friend Harry knew. And it's probably more that it is the new friend Harry who knows. And sh- like, as much as she says, like, when Peter jokes about how, like, they're becoming popular now in episode 4, 3 or 4, I forget which. But, and she's like, well, I was already popular. She hasn't been. Like, Peter is her friend, like her best friend. And to have, I think she's more pissed because she feels like this new person is stealing her best friend from her.
yeah,
It's
for
as
sure.
much, it's less about the actual secret. It's more about why didn't you tell me? Like, why am I now second fiddle? Are we still going to be friends?
Yeah. So that's kind of my only beef is that sure I get all that. I just was kind of same
Else,
trope. It seems like a similar trope that has
yeah.
been
It's
done. But
definitely a similar trope, but I also do think it is very realistic in terms of high schoolers.
sure.
Like,
I got it.
oh,
Yes.
wait, you told them a secret before me. We're supposed to be best friends.
See,
How dare you?
I think that's surface level. It totally high school, but usually I think what the real underlying problem is that she trusts Peter and she doesn't seem to trust her, and
Right.
her trust is sort of tainted because her parents
Yes.
died, left
Assuming,
wherever where they are. I don't know what
right.
happened to them.
Assuming, I mean,
Oh, or they're
imagine
just
if the
totally evil
Runaways,
people.
right?
Yeah,
Imagine if the Runaway storyline has happened in this universe.
right.
She has major trust issues already, and she lives in a foster home, which it seems like a decent foster situation
Yeah,
for her, but it's still a foster home with other foster kids, and she doesn't have a real family. And so to have that very close connected connection relationship with Peter, to have that best friend, and then all of a sudden it'd be like, oh, you were lying to me about something? You
right.
hid something from me? Especially if the Runaways storyline happened.
Yeah, then
Yeah.
it could completely like it that's a trigger, right? That's a total trigger
Yes.
for her. So that does make sense. You've turned me a little bit again. Thank you, Petter,
Yeah.
for correcting course, my
It,
course.
yeah. Well, it helps. I just read the Runaways storyline as well.
Oh,
I'll put a video up on that soon because that's a fun story.
hmm. I think I watched a little bit of it, the show.
Hmm.
It was all right.
I haven't heard great things about the show, but the book's good.
Hmm.
So next episode is Scorpion Rising.
Yep. That's I'm trying to think what kind of led up to the battle scene. I guess
So
it's
Lonnie had been tailed back
yep.
to the hideout, so the Scorpions know where the hideout is. I think one of my favorite parts of that episode was, is it Dion, Lonnie's younger brother? And him reaching out to Pearl, being like, I know Lonnie cares about you. Um, can you help him? Dion, I think, realizes like Lonnie's in deep. It is
Mhm.
Dion, right?
His
Brother.
brother, Trey.
Trey. There we go. I don't know. I was
Close.
thinking Dion.
So close.
Yeah. Trey was, I liked that Trey reached out. And I thought that that was a good part of that episode. And just at the addition of Pearl in there.
Yeah. Yeah, it was he sensed what he was cognizant of what happened, like what his brother did for him. Obviously, he doesn't really know how to go about it in a great way in a conversation, and obviously Lonnie is kind of frustrated by it, but that was cool. I liked
Hmm.
kind of some of that. It's realistic
Yeah.
feelings, I think, right? So that was
Hmm.
cool.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, I think, and then it all kind of came together right at the hideout, the
Yep.
110 hideout where Scorpion
Pearl's
shows up.
there. Scorpion Gang shows up.
Yep.
Spider-Man comes in to help.
Um,
And yeah, and Spider-Man sees, not only sees Pearl there, sees Lonnie there,
yeah, it's
sees
like what the
what
heck
this
is go?
location is, and his world is just shattered.
Yeah,
Oh, and Scorpion now has powers.
yeah, he completely like stabbed, right? He
Hmm.
stabbed Peter, and which was there was blood. I was kind of like,
Yeah,
oh, okay, interesting.
yeah.
It was a
There's a little.
pretty good flesh wound right
Hmm.
there, and yeah, it kind of it upped the stakes a little bit, right? It kind of
Yes.
Peter's kind of frazzled now, and it leads into well, that's where the glider comes in,
Yeah.
obviously, and
Rescue
which
him.
is yep, which I was like, okay, there's the hint, right?
Yep.
There's something else that's being developed on the back end, I think, by
Hmm.
Osborn, because maybe he's curious about some of these powers, and maybe he's
Yes.
wanting that. Maybe he doesn't want to be the dude behind the desk anymore, and he wants to maybe be out there.
Yep.
But yeah, it all leads down to the next episode where it's a lot less Spider-Man in this, and a
Hmm.
lot more just Peter
Yep.
going through like,
Recovering and kind
yep,
of trying to figure out what it means. Because Osborn calls him out on pulling his punches. Like he's not willing to do anything like Scorpion is.
right,
And um, with that too, like we should mention that like they took some of Peter's blood when
mhm.
they rescued
When
him.
right,
Osborn and Peter were looking in particular for the gamma radiation signature of the Scorpion so that they could track it back to Doc Ock because they had figured out it was Doc Ock. So, like a couple other important details from there. All
mhm.
the animals that showed up at the Osborn building.
Right. Yeah, where Dr. Connor's like, turning this place into a zoo, she says, and there's like
Yeah.
an iguana there. So is she not going to be should be a reptile of some kind. Maybe it's going to be more of a hint towards an iguana style versus a
Um,
alligator, gator style, or whatever, lizard. I guess it's a lizard. So
yeah.
yeah.
I don't think that I think that was more they wanted to call attention to that was happening because I think this is more Osborn experimenting to try and create like the conditions, create an animal like Peter got bit by the spider to figure out how to create his own version of that.
Yeah, yeah, probably. Yeah, we talked about the blood being drawn. Um, Conversation happened between Ross and Osborn, so there's definitely that's where you kind of get a little bit more understanding of Osborn's selling his tech and stuff like that to the military. It's kind of a big contract for him, and it seems like he's doing what he can to support the Sokovia Accords, you
Mhm.
know, to support Ross in that sense. Um,
I wonder if some of why he is so helpful with this is like once he realizes, okay, Doc Ock is probably the person behind it. Maybe Doc Ock was more of the brains of the operation at Oscorp. And um, so he buddies, Osborn buddies up to Ross to get contracts and stuff like that, which may mean that he gets the technology that was taken from Doc Ock's lab
yeah.
and he gets to work with it, and that's he gets to kind of rebuild his reputation and or get access to the stuff that he lost.
Yeah. Osborn is intrigued by what Doc Ock has been up to, and he's just trying to get his hands on it, seems like.
Yes. Yep.
So, Iron Man appears here,
Hmm.
which makes sense because of the Sokovia Accords. He was on the side of Ross, right?
Yep.
So that lines up. I guess the Department of Damage Control was there when Doc Ock was getting picked up, or at
Okay.
least attempting to be picked up. That was a little another Easter egg that was found. Jessica Clemens found that on New Rockstars, and yeah, I think the whole
That's
that's the big conversation happened, right?
yeah.
With Osborn and Peter.
Yeah.
And Osborn's tweaked that famous saying of with great power comes great responsibility, and he has twisted it to be more of about respect. So with great
Yeah.
power comes great respect.
Yeah.
And I do like how they kind of twisted that. That
Hmm.
was
Well, yeah, I really like how they twisted that because I think we can still get the line of with great power comes great responsibility or something like that from
Aunt May.
Aunt May, Nico, Pearl, even if she finds out, there are characters who can give it to him. But right
Yeah.
now he's been given the struggle of is that true? Because he doesn't fully believe it, but he doesn't want to let people down again like he feels like he did by not being able to stop the scorpion. And
Hmm.
so he's really working on that balance. And Harry even says, like, yeah, no, that's what my dad says. And says, like, it's, you have to figure out what's right for you. But I think we're going to see a Peter Parker in next episode who tries to do it Osborn's way,
Yeah.
uh,
Yep.
especially with the title.
I like how there's two different sides of that. And
Hmm.
as expected, like you're saying, he's gonna go down one path. He's gonna go with, I think, figure out that instinctually it's not the right path.
Yep.
And so he'll listen to his heart, his listen to his family, listen to his
Hmm.
friends. So
There was also another Spider-Man line that was used by Harry when they go get the new suit. What
what
does
was it?
Harry say when Peter's heading out with a new suit? Do you remember? Apparently you don't.
I do not.
He says, "Go get him, Tiger."
Oh, right, right, right. Yep.
I was like, "Yeah,
Just
that's great little line."
so Harry and Peter are gonna hook up, is what you're saying, because that's an MJ line there.
That's the only thing that that could ever mean. Yes.
Ooh, that's getting dicey. Another episode with 30% of it. Uh, just kidding. So,
Yeah.
lots of cool stuff in there. Lots of fun things.
Hmm.
Yeah, we'll see kind of where that ends up next week
Yeah.
or this week.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
let's.
I expect that we're going to I guess one of the things we didn't mention too is 110th Street Gang. They're now going to raid Doc Ock's old warehouse for whatever's left to try and
Oh, is
take
that what they were
five.
gonna do? Oh, that's
Yeah.
right. They have all those guns.
Well, that's not what the guns were for.
Oh, wasn't? Okay.
The guns were just for protecting themselves and kind of probably getting them onto the streets as part of their they
What
know that
gangs
the
do.
right. because they know the Scorpions are coming.
Right.
This was after the fight. They've lost their base. They saw Matt Gargan's power with the tech, so they they got a line on where that tech came from the chameleon,
Oh
who's
yeah. Forgot about the chameleon. Dimitri was
not
there. See, it was
yeah
chameleon.
yes who's kind of the chameleon, basically just like doing a good job of not being anybody,
Yeah.
which is very much the chameleon. And yeah, so I think we're going to see the creation of Tombstone, like more comic book feeling Tombstone, through something at that's still left at Doc Ock's place.
Yeah, it'd be like gamma, something gamma.
Hmm.
I
Yep.
think they talked a little bit about the gamma radiation and or
Yep. That
gamma
was
this
what
and that.
powered.
Yeah.
Yep. That's what was being used to power and um, something that could be traced.
Yeah.
So I'm I'm very curious to see where that goes, hero or menace, and if this be my destiny. I think that the first part, well, there will be two parts to if this be my destiny. Part of it will be Peter figuring out who to be as Spider-Man, how to
Yeah.
actually be Spider-Man. But I think it could also be Lonnie fully, like he steps away. He steps away from Pearl and says like, no, my neighborhood, my family, more important than our relationship. I'm sorry. But I think it's going to be him fully stepping into his destiny as well.
Yeah.
And probably being brought in under Kingpin.
That would add up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, and I did want to toss out one more thing too that I just remembered. So when Harry is teaching Nico how to drive and they race,
Oh,
they
yeah.
definitely hint that Nico has powers.
Yeah, what is that like what did it do? It just helped her drive like
Yeah.
and miss something or
Yeah, something like that.
I didn't know that that was what her powers.
Her powers are she can kind of manifest things with
Okay.
her powers. And so it might be manifestation of the improved driving ability.
Yeah, but the
Um,
necklace did for sure
yeah,
like shimmer a little bit, right? And
yes, yeah,
I just kind of wondered, does she know this? Is it was that like a relic thing that was handed down to her? She had no idea what it's all about. Obviously, she must know
yeah,
some. If she, I don't know. It all depends on what the if the runaway story is in there, I guess.
yeah.
So
Yeah, so like the interesting thing is she has blood magic through the Staff of One, um which can do a whole bunch of different things, telekinesis, teleportation, shielding, summoning, flight, etc. Uh but there's a weakness to her power in that she cannot repeat spells with the staff. They either will not work or will cause a random effect. So like she tries to reuse freeze in the Runaway storyline and creates a flock of pelicans. And so
okay,
it's interesting element to it. And I mean, I would assume that whether or not she consciously knows that she's casting it, she's going to be limited and not able to repeat stuff too, which is cool.
yeah, makes writers really have to get unique and creative.
Hmm. Or just have flock
Um,
of seagulls show up everywhere.
hey,
S-
it's
Sometimes the birds,
sometimes in
sometimes
music.
they. Yep.
I mean, win-win, right?
Yeah.
All right. Should we move on that lovely note?
Yeah.
Move on to Captain America, Brave New World.
Yep. All right. So if you're kind of skipping forward a little bit as we go, we are out of spoilers for your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. Unfortunately, I have no good way to really tell you when that's going to happen on this. So hopefully you're listening and just skipping ahead. Now, non-spoiler thoughts on Captain America Brave New World.
I walked out of this, as you know,
Hmm. I
feeling
was there.
very, yeah, feeling very unsure about
Hmm.
what my feelings were on it. But after a little bit of digestion, a little bit of just time to let it uh, simmer a little bit on me, I find that it was a good movie. It was
Yes.
good. It wasn't great. It wasn't bad. Lots of good stuff to it. Some things that I was like, that felt weird. But overall, it was just to me good. It did not, for me, it did not beat out some of the other Captain America movies.
Hmm.
Um, but I'll kind of get more into that later.
Yeah, we'll talk
So
about that more. For me, I liked it better than some of the other Captain America films, but I'm also not the biggest fan of a lot of the Captain America films, which we've gone over on the podcast multiple times. Because I'm right and Greg is wrong. Because I have to explain myself every time, otherwise it feels weird. But I'm with you on this one. This is a good movie. It is fun. It has some very good acting in it. It has a solid enough plot, and it does it does what it's supposed to, and it feels a little bit by the numbers because of that, which isn't a bad thing. It just means that it's not going to be a standout movie for me in the MCU, but it's definitely not a bad project.
yeah. All right.
Do you want to
That
do it this
said,
time?
let's get in there with some spoilers, huh? Let's get dirty.
Yeah.
All right. Spoilers, spoilers, spoilers. You all have been warned. It's spoiler time.
Yeah.
Let's talk about it. Let's get in.
Yes.
Um,
First off, I can't believe they showed the Red Hulk's ass.
it's America's ass right there. Um, if they did, I totally missed it. And Harrison Ford's ass is the last ass I'd like to see, by the way. Um, I I'm gonna start with I have kind of like four categories kind of mapped out
Hmm.
here. The good, the bad, the okay, and then other. So I think I want to talk a little bit about what maybe just a couple of things. I'm gonna get through some of the bad stuff,
Yeah.
and there's not that much,
Yeah.
but
I'm going to disagree with you. We'll see.
okay.
I have no idea.
Okay. So I don't know if you will. I think you might be on board with me on this one. So first of all,
The first 5 minutes?
the first 5 minutes were rough. And there was some exposition in there, which I was this,
It's
and it kind of
fun.
carried out through the whole movie. Like there was just
Yes.
too much exposition, which when I notice that, I feel like that's a problem. Like
Hmm.
otherwise, I don't mind some of that stuff usually because in these type of movies, when it's spy thriller stuff, I honestly don't always keep track. I mainly like lose track of people's names and who's who, and then I get lost in some of um the plot that way. So not that that was really this movie was one of those situations where it gets
Yeah.
heavily, like a spy thriller, but like Mission Impossibles and
Yeah. But
whatever.
this movie did try to have and did have a few different layers of stuff
Yeah,
that we kind of knew always knew who all of it came back to, but how it went. And I'm with you on this opening scene, and then it for me it was really one other scene. It was the serpent scene where they're at the
those,
military base and
yeah, Sidewinder and
yeah,
Cap are
kind of
talking.
and Sidewinder info dumps a little bit, and it just was like that we didn't really need that. We
Right,
just needed like you could have cut that conversation down by 40, like down to 30 to 40% of what it was,
right.
and it would have been fine.
And then give us Amadeus Cho back into that scene that where they're in the bunker, right? Okay, that's for later. So yeah, exposition a little bit heavy in times. Ross, I had a little bit of hard time buying into where Ross really stood. I think he was morally trying to do the right thing, supposedly, right? That was kind of the
Hmm.
overarching thing he was trying to change for his daughter,
Right.
for Betsy, sorry. Betty Ross. Betsy Ross. Now I'm losing Betty White, Betsy Ross. Anyways, and I can tell you
Betty
look Betty
Ross.
Ross. There we go. I know you looked it up because you were confused too. So Betty Ross, right? His daughter. So he was trying to do good by her.
Hmm.
And it just, I didn't feel it. I didn't feel it because it kind of you got some a little bit of the old Ross in there, which I get. There's that back and forth pull. But overall, I just didn't feel like I understood where he really was rooted. Was he rooted
Right.
in trying to do the right thing or not?
See, I will disagree with you on this one because I actually liked Harrison Ford's performance, and which I know isn't what you're necessarily talking about there, but I do think that they set it up pretty well for that. Um, Ross is still a selfish person, but he understands that now, kind of in his old age, that there are things that were more important in his life than kind of the war mongering, power grabbing that he had. But he doesn't know how to go about really changing himself. And he's trying to do it, but he's trying to do it by becoming president, and which is a position of power. And he's trying to do it by like these accords, but or not accords, but treaty
Treaty. Yeah.
around the adamantium. And it works for me because he's always slipping back into who he was. He's trying, like, his intentions are good, but whenever he gets into the moment where it's um, emotional and high stress, he slips back into his old familiar shell. And I liked that storytelling because it's showing a character, and it's not perfectly smooth in how they do
Right.
it. But I like that they're trying to tell this story with a more complex character who's trying to do the right things, generally for the right reasons, but has X number of years. I don't know how old they want to say Thunderbolt Ross is at this point, but probably he's at least supposed to be 70s, I would guess, early
Right.
70s. And he keeps on slipping back into it. And the whole plot with Samuel Stern, the leader, he is trying to, like, he's doing the wrong thing for the quote unquote right reason there too. And like he's
Right.
still trying to hold on to this power, getting people to do stuff for him. And it's the that conflict of the character that I like. And it's supposed to feel like we're getting a little bit of two different things for multiple reasons.
So I feel like it's not that you're disagreeing with me. I think that the things you're saying are kind of how I'm feeling about it, right? I think it's
Mhm.
more the execution of it that it
I liked the execution, I think, better.
Okay. Yes. So for me, it just didn't come as clear or genuine as I think it was supposed to end up being. But what you're saying is right. That was why it was a more complex thing, right?
Yeah.
I didn't know whether like the leader was causing some of this like overheating, like the pills that Ross was taking, or for his
Yeah.
heart, if it was like trying to, if it was increasing his anger somehow, like slowly, and or if it was really all just old Ross trying to get out, like because it was all about showing who Ross really was. That's what the leader's goal
Hmm.
was, right? And to
Yeah.
uncover and show him for the what he had done to
Yeah.
him. So
Yeah. I don't think it was the pills so much. I mean, the pills obviously were the end goal to show that true manifestation of it
and
as
t
the Red
just throw
Hulk.
some testosterone in him, then you can really just get him angry easy, right? Just
But
juice
um
him.
yeah, but I think that there was an element of, yes, it was the leader definitely was causing more of that whiplash by playing the probabilities. And that, I don't know if you're going to talk about how the leader keeps on giving percentages for everything in any point of this.
No, I know that's his
Okay.
thing. That
Yeah, but I liked that they leaned into that. I
Yeah.
I I meant any part of it, good, bad, or otherwise. But I enjoyed the fact that they did that because it explains why Ross keeps on getting put into these higher and higher and higher pressure situations. And
Right.
like it's the leader who is ratcheting up that stress, that pressure to the breaking point, which is why, I mean, we're seeing kind of that whiplash reaction
Yeah.
to it.
It, it feels like it just didn't get executed for me. Like almost like I got distracted by something else and wasn't able to stay. I don't know. It didn't stay in focus for me. Those kind of things. I mean, you're right. Like it was ratcheting it up, right? And that's
Hmm.
so getting to that point of where Ross freaks out and he finally changes it behind the podium. That to me did not feel like that wasn't executed well. I feel like it just felt like rushed. Like it just, I don't know. Like I
I, th
it didn't come to the climax where I was like really buying into it
Mhm.
personally. So,
Yeah, I was more so. Um, Now we can talk about the transformation itself. I don't think that was great.
oh really? I mean,
I I was fine with it. I was fine, like with the close-up shots, but then kind of how he appears from behind the podium just felt a little off to me.
yes.
But do you have any others on the not so good section?
Oh, all right. The podium stuff you're saying
Yeah, like, but the
it did feel a
reveal
little
wasn't
off. Yeah.
wasn't great.
But
Um,
the actual Hulk was great, I
yes,
thought. Right? I thought
yes.
that was spot on. And the
Hmm.
other part of like I wanted to say for the bad stuff is there's some CGI stuff, like background stuff that was just I noticed it. Like it stood out to me, and I'm not usually one to catch those things that often. But like at the cherry blossom, like after I think during the kind of the talk down, the sun's getting real low kind of part of it,
Hmm.
100% I could see like that background was very CGI. And I was
I
like,
didn't even
and it
notice.
pulled me right out. Did it really? Okay.
Nope.
That's so interesting. Like I feel like I don't normally see that stuff. Like my eye is not it's not gonna see it, but I don't know. I've had people or I've been in other movies and I'm like, oh man, I totally missed that. But when I look at it again, I'm like, yeah, I see what you're saying. But this one I totally saw right off the bat. So that was my probably the last thing that fell into my bad category, right? That I just was like, these things didn't do it for me. So
Hmm.
um, the Hulk I thought looked amazing. The
Yes.
transformation to me wasn't that bad. The escalation that brought him to the transformation seemed a little bit rushed, a little bit weird. Um,
Uh, yeah.
I
I'm.
mean,
I want to
it's
be able to.
nitpicky, I know, but
I want to be able to counter that a bit more. I do think I think that was the final thing that pushed him. It was a good final thing that pushed him over the edge. It wasn't the biggest thing. Like I would argue that the bigger things were um like the escalation with Japan around adamantium. Like that was arguably a bigger thing, but the Samuel Stern leader kind of hacking into and playing his message to everybody and that playing out of the conversation. I think that was the moment where because Ross has just had his conversation with Betty, it made sense to me because that would be the moment where it felt like everything was like he had just reached his goal and now it was going to all be lost. It was all going to be undone by Stearns. And so to me, it's less of a big moment, but more of it's such a giant moment emotionally for Ross.
yeah. No, I don't disagree with that. I think that was very much what got him,
Yes.
you know, hulked out
Yeah.
is,
And
but it,
yeah.
I think it was more just something, it just, something was like, there's too much that was jammed in there or so, I don't know. I can't put my finger on it, but,
Mhm. And
um,
I'll disagree with that and say that for me, that worked.
yeah, and I get it, and I appreciate that substance that I was trying to give with the character. I think I just there's something about that scene and the sequence things happen in. It just seemed something was off about it, and
Hmm.
I don't know how to explain it. So those are my kind of meh parts of it.
Yeah.
Um,
I would
the,
toss one in. I thought
yeah,
that the serpent stuff was fine. And maybe
yeah.
that's it's not like when we're saying bad, I don't know that any of the things like you're saying, oh my goodness, it's not a Drax arm
No, 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 no,
on
no.
Gaia.
Right. I
Bad.
think bad is not it's not a good title for the
Yeah.
category. It's more of blemishes in the movie that
Right.
stood out to me. That were like kind of not annoyances, but just things that stood out as blemishes.
It's stuff that's 80% of the way there and you just want that extra 20%.
Yeah, I want 30% more making out.
Yes.
Um so it kind of transitions then for you're talking about Serpent Society kind of
Yep.
being okay. Yeah, Sidewinder actually it was okay. I think uh those things with the Serpent Society didn't really bother me. It wasn't there wasn't
Mhm.
a ton in there about it, so it was fine.
Yeah,
Giancarlo Esposito,
was fine.
it's fine. Actually, I did have him more on like one of the things I really liked about the movie.
Nice.
But I think really the some of the things were just kind of in the okay category here are Falcon, and Harrison Ford, uh, was
I would.
good. So not Harrison Ford acting.
Mhm.
Um,
I liked
what
Falcon's story. I'm assuming you're talking more story or Falcon, sorry. Yeah, Falcon was he was given the comedic relief role
yes, very
and
much sidekicky.
which was fine, but they needed to give him a couple more moments, like just a couple.
Yeah. Well, he had I like the solo like attack that or not attack, but he took out a couple
Yes.
dudes, right? And it was like, oh, nobody saw that, you know. It was very much that
Mhm.
roadie early Iron Man kind of I want to
Yes.
be in the spotlight thing.
Yes.
And also, but he also had the big like another kind of roadie moment where he went down, right,
Mhm.
later on in Act Three.
We
So
just needed, I think, in Act Two or yeah, like Act Two, we needed to see him be pushing himself that hard, like one or two more times.
yeah, I almost kind of wanted something where he's got a little bit more meat in his character,
Yeah.
right? Just something to, I don't know, to bind him to Cap,
Hmm.
like with Steve Rogers, how Anthony or how Sam binded with Steve Rogers, trying to get the actors and their characters
Yes.
figured out. Um,
Yes.
the thing about Harrison Ford, though, it wasn't his acting. It was, I think, just me personally taking him not as his character and shrinking. Like that was what I think. After thinking about it, I'm like, I just know him lately as his character in the show Shrinking on
Oh,
Apple Plus. So
so that's your own
it
fault.
it's my own problem, right? That's a me thing. I think I already kind of talked about Ross's real nature. Like I couldn't quite
Mhm.
pinpoint that. And
I'll I'll toss another
yeah, go
thing
for it.
into
I got
for
two more.
me
You go ahead.
into the okay side of things. And again, it wasn't a bad performance. And the whole storyline with Carl Lumley, it was a good storyline. Not Carl Lumley, but Isaiah Bradley, played by
Okay,
Carl Lumley.
there you go.
Uh, yeah, it's your fault. That it was good. I just wanted more.
Yeah, oh, 100%. You know from our previous conversations how much
Yeah.
I liked what was happening in Captain America or in
Uh,
Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Yeah, so many
yes.
things. Yeah, his
I,
stuff was great.
I, I just wanted more. And so that's why I put it a little bit into the okay category is I just wanted to give a little bit, like, I don't know, 10% more time to
Yeah.
his story.
Yeah, I would have loved to, because they talk about his suit, right? I
Yeah.
really like how that was like a thing that like it was like an important thing for him because that's also what he married his wife in, who was killed while he was in prison, and he never got to see her really, you know, or
Yeah.
all that you learn about. And it could have, yeah, 10% more of what happened with him, or
Hmm.
just some more about him would have been really good, I think, and that would have
Yes.
made it just even better because I thought he's actually in my what I found was really great about this movie is in his story, and I definitely
Yeah.
wanted more out of it. So
Yeah. Yeah. It's my complaint isn't
two
for
sides of the
his
same coin kind of thing.
story. It's just that I want more of that story. And I thought, and it could have used just that little bit more to push up that
Yep.
emotionality
Yeah.
of it.
Um, last couple things that were kind of in my this is okay
Mhm.
category. And tell me what you think. The leader. What do you think of the looks of the leader? There's lots
The
kind of like some people like it, some people don't. Some people, you
I
know,
am perfectly okay with it. I don't like it. I don't hate it.
yeah.
They could have gone a little bit more comic-y. I might have liked it better, but it's yeah, it is definitely an okay element.
All right. I may have lost you for a second there.
Mhm. I primarily was saying it's just definitely an okay element of the
Yes,
look.
and that's exactly where I have it placed, right? So,
Hmm.
the leader, it was okay. I'm fine
Yeah,
with it. Whatever.
yeah. The look
Uh,
or the
overall.
overall.
Yeah, I'm gonna say just the look.
Yeah.
Yep, just the look. End credit scene was my last comment about what was it was fine.
hmm
It didn't
I
it wasn't what I wanted.
I don't know what I would have wanted otherwise.
I wanted more like I would like a better tie into Thunderbolts maybe or
Nah, Thunderbolts is very feels very separate to me. I think the tie-in to Thunderbolts, we maybe we'll talk about it, but let's talk about it. Is the Bucky running for
yeah.
office thing, and Bucky's going to have to figure out, is he going to run for office? Does he know what's actually going? Well, he's running for office. Is he going to be a representative or senator? I forget what he's running for. Or is he going to be that hero? That's going to be Bucky's struggle, and that's plenty of setup for me for Thunderbolts.
But
So
what
I did,
why? Why okay. We're talking about the end credit scene, not Bucky. So go
right.
okay, go keep going.
Um, but why was the end credit scene fine for me then? Or like, why was it?
Yeah.
Because I do not want end credit scenes that are like a 30-second, minute long advertisement for the next movie or show. That's not what makes a good end credit scene for me. It's going to be the thing that hints at something more, something bigger going on. And Thunderbolts is not, I mean, it is something bigger, but if you want it, like the only thing, I guess I should say, that you could have done Thunderbolts wise that would have been interesting might have been if you had Val showing up at Echo Base 1
Yep.
and being like, all right, like get everything like cut off. Let's see what we can find here. See if we can find something useful. And and that's what it is. That would have been the only like Thunderbolts type thing. I don't want any tie into any of the Thunderbolts characters. Don't need to set that up. I don't want more of that. I don't want anything that's directly Void or Sentry. Keep it simple. It's
I don't
it's
mind it.
like
I just this once. I don't mind it. I wouldn't mind it.
yeah.
So
Yeah. Well, you're wrong. No. Uh,
uh
like I said, for me, I want these end credit scenes to not set up that next project, but to set up something, uh, something that's maybe a little bit more, hmm,
yeah, that's fine. And that's kind of what it did, right? It
yes.
did a setup, but it was also like, okay, I can't we kind of already know.
We kind of,
It was
but
just kind of an empty one. It didn't really have much to it. I get that maybe he'll have some part in it, maybe, but uh I just was
I,
like, yeah,
no, I'm going to disagree with you there. You and I already know.
well, okay, fine. Yes, we already know, but
Most people, I think that's going to be like a good teaser for, or a good kind of reminder teaser of like, oh, there are other universes out there. Wait, who are these others that he's talking about?
yeah.
And it's going like that's a better teaser. It's a better teaser for people who aren't familiar, like heavily familiar with the events of Secret Wars and Out of Time.
But
We are.
true, but I mean, who's it for? Is it really for the broader audience, I guess, then
Yes.
to get, well, why? That's dumb. They don't care. They
Yes, they
don't
do.
care. No, they don't. They're not going to sit around. They'll look it up on YouTube after the movie's left. They all have to pee, like I always do. So they're getting out of the
No,
theater, and yes, I
every single one of everybody knows Marvel does end credit scenes.
right.
People stick around for those end credit scenes.
The ones that care and that have an idea. I just maybe I'm
No,
living too much in my own Marvel bubble. I just feel like we're beyond this, and they don't need to cater to.
but it's not catering to a. It's it is building the anticipation for what are supposed to be the big movies
All right,
coming out
people.
here. You're listening to our podcast. You are in the same boat that we are. So I'm gonna staunchly disagree with you on that one. It
Or know this stuff already.
uh, you cut out there for half a second.
Dang it. It was such a good thing. I wanted you to put it in the comments. What you guys think? Do they
Mhm.
cater to us? Do they cater does Marvel cater to the audience that more
That's
surface level understanding or to those that really understand all that's happening, such as maybe, like what Petter and I talk about and what Screen Crush talks about and New Rock Stars,
right.
you know.
Does Marvel cater their end credit scene to the people who are already going to go see that next movie, or do and the next movies, or did they cater it to the people who are maybe a little bit more casual and now are they're building up the anticipation for those people?
Yeah, so it's not a question of did it ha has it happened that way. It's a question of
Should it?
should it happen that way from here on out.
Yeah.
So, okay.
Yeah. And obviously, we can debate that. And who knows? Maybe we will at some point
Yeah.
in time. Because I think there could be interesting conversations around, like, okay, who should Marvel be targeting for their movies? And I think this movie has some of the flaws of it with exposition, where it felt like they targeted a dumbed down audience that they didn't need.
Yeah, like who's Betty or Betsy?
Betty
Whatever her name
Ross.
is. Okay. Oh, great. It's gonna be like a John Malkovich situation. Um,
Yeah, I heard he was in pretty good in a movie.
yeah, that one
Saving
plays him.
Private Ryan.
God. Okay.
All right, so
So anyways, what else we got here? I got kind of into my what I really liked.
yeah,
So do you want to kick that off? You got some things that like stood
Sam
out?
Wilson.
Oh, my number one. I mean, that's
Sam
what I have
Wilson.
at the top. Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
Sam Wilson was great, and I will say I love that they did what they should with that character.
Yes.
Because they did what they had built up with that character. And as we were talking about with your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man, how Spider-Man is kind of trying to figure out who he is, and the with great power comes great respect, twisting of that line and how that's going to play out. We got to see Sam Wilson really solidify his version of Captain America and how his version of Captain America, I mean, the leader plays into it in some ways. Of he says, "Oh, we're going to talk." Sam's like, "Well, you have 5 minutes before the MP show up," but the leader knows that he's going to be able to have that conversation with Sam. And then that final fight, I said that he was going to have to talk him down. And well, he tries to do it twice, or maybe more than twice, but twice around the cherry blossom. And I really like the fact that they did it twice and had him try and talk Red Hulk down. Um, Sun's getting real low moment twice because the first time he is still armored up. He has his vibranium wing. He has his mask on. He's ready to fight. And he's still trying to talk him down. And it doesn't work because he still looks like a combatant. And that's what, like, the ingrained nature of Red Hulk, Thunderbolt Ross sees a combatant. It only works once he's lost his wings, once his mask has cracked and gone, and he's just standing there as a person, and he tries it again and brings up that location, Betty, all those things. That it's only when it's that personal connection, that person to person moment, which Sam is so good at, that he is able to talk down the Hulk. And clearly, I'm passionate about that moment. And I thought that just played out so well in defining the character. Plus, you have Sam struggling with the idea of should I have just taken the super soldier serum?
Right.
Should I have gotten powered up? Like, we have John Walker, we have Cap, Steve Rogers, we have Bucky, who's having a conversation with, and it's no, that's not who he is. Even though he's struggling with it, he knows that no, that wouldn't be truthful to who he is, but it seems like such a tempting shortcut. It's um how the ring in Lord of the Rings tempts everybody. These We see the same thing with Sam with the super soldier serum. Sam is not Frodo, but Sam is Samwise Gamgee in a lot of ways. He'll carry everybody's loads and be there for them
Right.
as a hero. And I
He,
loved how that played out.
he's almost more of a Captain America than Steve Rogers, I
Yes.
feel like, right? Because I don't know, he's just got a true grit, aspect to him. And I have two things that like kind of represent Sam, and that's empathy and
Yes.
just what's right. And those
Yes.
two things are what make him unique. And obviously he's just, he'll do it all day, right? That's
Yes.
ingrained in him as well, which is key thing that needs to carry over between one Captain America and another. But yeah, I think what what they did with him, like immediately at the beginning, he's like trying to just work things out with Ross and like talk to him just straight. Hey,
Hmm.
we've butted heads before in the Sokovia Accords. What happens if we do that again, right? And he's kind of giving him the benefit of the doubt, like, okay, I'm going to try and work with you. And then he just he's grounded enough to where he knows when he needs to stand on his own opinion and his own thing to do. And so it was like I said last week, I wanted this movie to not second guess or I just wanted I didn't want to be convinced that I guess Mackie and as him, I guess, or that this new Captain America, I didn't need it proven to me, but it
Hmm.
definitely and it kind of did, but it solidified it more what I wanted it to be, I think. So it was like a wet cement and it just solidified that character for me. And that's what I was hoping that how they'd portray him. So
Yes.
uh I think that was really great as well. And and when you kind of talked about the leader and just some of his actions and this methodical way of thinking through things, I thought was um, I think when I rewatch it, I think I'm going to find a little bit more, I'm going to be impressed a little bit more with how they
Hmm.
laid it out. Even though it wasn't at face value, like I think you can imagine how the steps were taken, right? And
Yes.
so I thought that was great.
Hmm.
Um,
And I just to talk one more thing about the leader too, is it bugged me for half a second when I was like, why is the leader turning himself in?
yeah, I didn't understand that. Well, I didn't understand it, but at the same time, like I can think about ways why obviously he's
Mhm.
maybe mapped that out, right? And it's not going to be given to us at this point in time.
Yeah, I think there's a potential other reasons. I think one of the reasons too is he knows that Sam is going to talk to him. Like he is playing Sam in that moment.
I think
Uh,
he's trying to get to the raft.
I think there's a possibility of that, but I think there's also he's playing Sam in the moment because if he's not there, if he's still on the run, does Sam get to the White House faster? Because those two conversations, like the leader playing the conversation over the speaker and
Oh, okay. Yep.
Sam having the conversation with the leader are happening at the exact same time. And if he's not distracting Sam, Sam could get there faster and potentially de-escalate the situation.
Right. Which is amazing how fast Sam got a suit on and
Yes.
got to the the White House. But
Yes. Yes, it is.
Um, so yeah, I would agree. I mean, now that you think about it, that does make sense. It's a distraction, right?
Hmm.
And probably a little bit arrogance, but moreover,
Right.
just a distraction to get Sam
Yep.
delayed.
Yep.
So
Because the leader wants to show off the true colors
yeah.
of Ross.
I think one more thing I wanted to talk about as far as Sam
Hmm.
as Captain America. Um, I just I really could feel the weight of what he was trying to kind of work through, like you had said with the super soldier serum, with what was right. Obviously being a black man in this very white role, I
Hmm.
guess, or what had been a white role and in a government run by many white men. So I really liked some of the racial tension that was talked about, and like when Harrison Ford one called him son, that was
Hmm.
but also when he said you're not Steve Rogers, I think I really liked there seemed like dual meaning to that
Yes.
as well. So some of the undertones that were there were what I wanted because I know that with the Isaiah Bradley story and
Yeah.
whatnot. So I think all that was done really, really well.
Yes.
Um,
Uh, Other
yeah.
moments in that good category.
I already said Hulk looks great. I already
Hmm.
talked about Giancarlo Esposito as Sidewinder doing a great job. Um, I think the last thing I had really was we haven't talked about her, but Sabra or
Hmm.
the
Ruth.
yeah. So I was at first kind of like, what is this character? Like what I don't
Hmm.
understand what's happening. And I like that she's actually Black Widow. They
Hmm.
I think they may have changed that,
Yes,
but
she's a mutant in the comics.
yeah. And man, is she small. Like
Yes.
I was like, is she? I don't know if like she seemed like she was about 4'1", right? But uh packing a punch, obviously. So I think I liked what her character. I like how she seemed like she was grounded as well and what was right and
Mhm.
wrong. And I'm kind of curious to see if she pops up again at all.
I hope she does because she was fun
Yeah.
in there and it worked. I feel like she's a character who would work well as still part of the government but like during the events of Doomsday. Like she's our connection in and stuff
Yeah.
like that.
Um
She's 5'2", by the way.
5'2".
Yep.
Man, that means that
Mackey's
okay.
5'10", Harrison Ford's 6'1".
And what about Isaiah Bradley? Because I think when she was up against him,
Mm-hmm.
uh, Tumley, is that his last name?
Carl Lumley.
Lumley. There we go.
Yeah.
She was like just a
He's 6'1" as well. But I think they maybe gave him platforms to bump up his height a little bit more.
okay. So yeah, I think that was those are my items that I thought really stood out for this,
Hmm.
and then I have some just other random ones.
Yeah.
Um,
I'm gonna go one more standout for me
yep.
was the aerial combat.
Oh yeah, no, I did have that. You're right. Yeah, that came through. We talked about that
Hmm.
was kind of one of our hopes that we would see, and I could watch those action scenes a few more times for sure because I
Yes,
thought they were.
100%.
I missed things, and that whatever I saw was great, and so kudos to that because I can't imagine that was cheap either. Some of that
Hmm.
stuff. So yeah,
I'm fine that they spent money on that CGI and didn't do like 15, 20 minutes of the Red Hulk. I know
yeah.
I know
Um,
that that's been one of the complaints is there wasn't enough Red Hulk, but this isn't a Red Hulk movie. Um,
I also didn't really expect a lot.
yeah.
I wasn't let down by that because I really
Hmm.
wasn't expecting a ton of it, I guess. So I was
Yeah.
expecting actual Hulk to show up, which he did, but it was in the playback of the 90s, 90 something, whenever Edward Norton Hulk and
Yeah.
Abomination battle. That's the only time you see him. So
Early 2000s.
early 2000s. There we go. So yeah, I don't know. I wasn't super let down. It'd have been cool, but at the same time, I think there was just enough. We've seen what Hulk can do, and against Falcon, or not Falcon, but against Captain America, like you
Yeah.
don't want that to last too long. I don't
Hmm.
think, like, because Sam was not going to last that
Yeah.
long. So, I want to ask you, do you feel like this movie had its place in the MCU? Like, do you feel like it felt like something that fit or was a little bit out of place?
Um, I think it fit. I think
Okay.
it fit because one, it people needed to see the new Captain America in action. And I think to have it shoved into a movie where you potentially have Thor and Doctor Strange and who knows who all else in like a Doomsday. You have RDJ back as Doctor Doom, and even if it before it was Doomsday, because I'm sure some elements have stuck around that you needed to have really set up this character. And I know we talked about this outside the theater a little bit. I like that we should be getting some movies that tie in more to everything. But looking back at the first three phases of the MCU, or like, yeah, the first three phases of the MCU, a lot of those movies just did a tiny bit to set up the Infinity Saga, and they were really meant to be standalone movies that had just a little bit of something to set up what's coming next. And we've already talked about it with Bucky, and then the post-credit scene with the leader. We got two little bits that set up future things, but it didn't take away from the movie. It didn't take away from what this movie was about, which was Sam solidifying himself and figuring out who he is as Captain America, and then the question for Thunderbolt Ross of can he change and the struggle of that. And I was
Yeah.
like, it it gave me what I want from a good MCU movie, which is going to be that more character focused, and then every once in a while we can get a big spectacle film, but it doesn't have to be everything.
Okay, I can, yes. I don't think I disagree with any of that. I think what maybe being missed a little bit is that this did set up, not set up like obvious stuff of like story, like the overall arcing like Secret Wars story, but I think it
Hmm.
set up Sam as
Yes.
a definite person that can lead a new Avengers team. So I think that we're going to
Right.
see Sam put this team together,
Yep.
whoever they are, and he's going to be the leader that can lead them. So I think that you're right. This movie did kind of
But
do that.
it,
It showed Sam
yeah.
for the character that he is, and there's somebody
Yeah.
that it needed to be kind of shown in a way.
Hmm. Yeah.
So
To me, that falls into that Sam character development, character arc
yeah,
element of being like, yes, now for the general viewing audience who maybe didn't catch The Falcon and the Winter Soldier, or just needs that reminder because Falcon and the Winter Soldier is 4 years old at this point, almost, that, yeah, this is Sam Wilson and he can lead.
right. Yep.
All right, what's your next thing in this other category?
Um, I think I was kind of curious about. I have a couple other things, but we kind of I'm gonna like it was about the leader turning himself in, but we already talked about
Yeah,
that. I mentioned Bucky running for
yeah,
Congress. I don't quite understand that, but at the same time, either I'm sure it's going to get figured out. I just
yep.
think it's really left field, and I don't understand it, but I'm gonna just not care. And then I think the last kind of minor thing that I was just like, huh, this is interesting. Um, there was a funeral scene that I think, at least according to like the trailers, there seemed to be a funeral scene that was not left in the movie. And I'm wondering if that was going to be for Ross or for Falcon or somebody else.
Hmm.
Were they going to maybe
Lonely?
kill off?
I'm not lonely,
Oh,
but Bradley.
maybe. Maybe. Let's see, but Betsy was it? Betty, Betty, Betty was there. So
Yeah,
that
that feels more like Ross. They were
it must have
teasing.
been a Ross, right? And then maybe they pulled that out of the
Yeah,
movie
maybe they pulled that
because
out of the movie if Harrison Ford was like, "Yeah, no, I'd be interested in doing more." Um, or that was supposed to be that misdirect of we had, or was it? Well, I was going to say, when does Thunderbolts Ross's wife die?
uh sh
Has she been dead for a while at this point?
I didn't see the year. I don't think they put a
Yeah,
year on it,
yeah,
probably wisely.
yes,
So I don't know. But yeah, I guess that could have been something there too, because if Betty was there, then it could have been more about just not talking to her, she would not talk to
yep,
him or whatever. She
yep,
totally shunned him. So I was thinking maybe Falcon died from the fall, which didn't really make sense, but I was thinking, well, it was a serious injury.
yeah,
Ross could have died from the Wakandan stab wounds, or
yes,
maybe something happened after, or he had a heart attack. I guess that could kill Hulk, right? He had his own heart attack. I don't know.
yeah. Well,
Um,
yeah.
and so,
eh,
but instead, he ends up on the raft. But I think it's either yes, it could have been the wife dying, or otherwise it was Ross, and they just didn't know. They changed it. They changed the
Yep.
ending. So.
Yep.
Wasn't sure if you had any
Yeah.
other thoughts on that, but that was kind of my last thing,
Hmm.
to kind of go through all of the things
No,
I that stood out to me. So
I don't have any additional thoughts on that. That is a good call, and I've forgotten about that in there. I wonder if that was maybe even filmed when the different actors were in the Serpent Society.
it
Because
could
there
be,
were
yeah.
multiple actors who were cut out from that, which I was going to ask about that. I'm sure there's going to be some people who are like, "Oh, this wasn't that good. It they should have kept the original cut." No, no, that's dumb talk. Stop. Um,
That, that is dumb talk.
yeah, there's
I like
no other way to put it. I gotta,
that's
it's
crazy talk
yeah,
and dumb
crazy
talk.
talk. Yeah, it's there. There was a single reshoot. Just a reminder, there was a single reshoot, people, not multiple, like was falsely reported, for this movie, where they brought in Giancarlo Esposito as part of the planned reshoots for the movie, and I think I could see that being the case potentially. Um,
I think they reshot the ending
yeah,
because, like I said, that CGI. when he's on that street after Hulk destroys all the cherry blossom trees in that area, it doesn't match up. Like there's lighting things and it's just weird looking. So I
Yeah,
think there
I
may have been more than one, but
possibly. Well, no, there was a
not
single reshoot, but it might have affected multiple parts.
yeah,
Um, Not just adding in Giancarlo Esposito. They probably did touch on a couple other things as well. I won't be surprised if some of it was they drew out that ending with the Red Hulk. That it might have been even faster, or that some of the ending might have been to bring Betty to that street.
maybe. Yeah.
Which because that would make sense in terms of a plot thing
Well, that's
to
what I thought
do.
they were gonna do. I
Yeah.
honestly thought that's what they were gonna do.
Yeah, and I'm really glad they didn't because that would have undercut Sam.
Yeah, that's true.
And
Yeah.
so I wonder if that's the reason for some of a reshoot or redoing of that end credit scene. It could even be that this it's fairly similar and they just shot and recorded new dialogue for it and they scrubbed Betty from those scenes.
They had Betty standing there and then Aerosmith started singing
Hmm.
and
Don't want to miss a thing.
yeah, telling her
But
dad, "Don't do this. You don't want to miss a thing as I get older." No, I don't know.
yeah. No, but I wouldn't be surprised, like you were saying, if that was redone, because that feels like something they would have been like, oh, they let's do that. And then in the test screenings and watching it being like, oh, that's taking away from how we actually want this to go.
Yeah. Yeah.
But that was it for me. Let us know if you went and saw the movie opening weekend. You can do that over on YouTube. Um, and definitely drop your comments and thoughts on this. Just a reminder with doing that, I'm gonna delete comments that are inflammatory and personal attacks, racist, whatever that isn't part of a useful and growing discourse. If if your state if you're commenting, making a statement that everybody has to think this is horrible or everybody has to think this is great, because if you think it's great, you're woke, or you think it's horrible, you're racist. Both of those will get deleted. Just as simple as that. We want to create and foster really a community that is going to converse and listen and engage in meaningful conversation and discussion around Marvel things, much like Greg and I do here on the podcast, as much as like I will make the goofy statements, and I hope you understand that they're goofy, including you, Greg, of that you're wrong. Um,
I
Obviously,
I take it to heart. I
I
cry a
know.
little bit after each episode that we do.
Mhm.
But that's okay. That's between Petter and I. You guys, yeah, keep it clean, keep it nice, keep it
Yeah.
friendly. That's all we're asking.
Hmm. And it is perfectly fine to disagree. Just disagree with well thought out, constructive discourse and discussion. So you can do that over on the YouTube page. You can do that over on Facebook by searching for 10 Minute Marvel and let us know your thoughts. And then if you enjoy this content, Greg gave a few ways you can help support us at the beginning, but we also have a Patreon, patreon.com/nerdologists. The funds go to help improve the quality of this podcast, as well as the Monty Michaels YouTube channel, 10 Minute Marvel YouTube channel, and nerdologists.com website. But with that, we'll see you next time.
America's Ace.